you guys so much for joining us here. Pub Sports Radio, NFL Beat the Line show, and I'm coming off taking it right in the heart of the khakis. I need to bounce back after 8 glorious weeks. I fall apart in week 16. All right, let's move on. Next up for us, 1 p.m. Eastern, New York Giants, 4-11, 1-7 on the road. The Chicago Bears, 5-10, 2-5 at home. We're at Soldier Field in Chicago, Illinois. Let's open with the odds here. We have Chicago opening up as 6-point favorites. That's moved to 6.5 at a couple books. It's moved 5 cents at Bet365. This total very low, opening at 38, now down to 37.5. We saw our lowest total of the year come up in Detroit, Chicago Bears. In the Saints Dolphins game. Opened up at 39.5, went down to 37.5, and 23 points were scored. And I know a lot of cappers who think when that low, very low total comes out, they can't make it low enough for those two teams, and they, attack it. Giants coming off an ugly 34-10 loss at the Eagles. Let's move over to the cash flow and see what they are here. 2,206 tickets in, 81% of the tickets on the Bears, and 95% of the cash. 47% of tickets on the under, and 64% of the cash. I guess when we talk about making moves right now with COVID just infiltrating all these rosters, that the only bet you could probably make before a game goes is the under. Other than that, I don't know. You could get hurt so badly by losing a player. Kent Davies says Sunday showing 16 degrees, gonna be chilly. Jake Fromm started in that 34-10 loss and could get nothing going. 6 of 17 for 25 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interception. His passer rating was 19.5. Mike Glennon replaced him with 17 of 27 for 93 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That pick was returned for a score by Alex Singleton. I do think that they start Mike Glennon. I think we know what we're going to get from Jake Fromm. Daniel Jones has been shut down for the season because of a sprained neck. The ground game did not look good. Saquon Barkley struggled, 15 carries for 32 yards. He's not looked good all year. Kadarius Toney led receivers with 4 catches for 28 yards. They could get little pressure on Hurts, 1 sack, 5 quarterback hits. Offensive tackle Matt Pert tore his ACL. He's done for the year. And they have a lengthy COVID list that includes cornerback Adoree Jackson, wide receiver John Ross, cornerbacks Keelan Crossan, offensive tackle Nate Solder, defensive tackle Danny Shelton, and safety Julian Love. This Bears team comes in off a surprise 25-24 win at Seattle on Sunday. Had lost 3 straight in 7 of their previous 8. Nick Foles, 24-35 for 250 yards, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. We don't know who's going to start, but we expect it'll be Justin Fields. So Foles started. Justin Fields ruled out with an ankle injury, and Andy Dalton dealing with a left-handed groin injury. They're both listed as questionable this week. David Montgomery, 21 carries for 45 yards, 1 touchdown, caught 7 passes for 61 yards. He's been very good. The defense was missing many pieces due to injuries and COVID, but they were strong still. 2 sacks, 7 quarterback hits. Robert Quinn just continues to play great. 1 sack, now a 17 on the year. That's second most in the storied Bears history, just behind Richard Dent, 17.5 in 1984. Offensive tackle Jason Peters, wide receiver Jakeem Grant, and cornerback Xavier Crawford were inactive last week. Their list is questionable this week. Their COVID list is short. Safety DeAndre Houston Carson, tight end Jesper Horsted, and defensive tackle Akeem Hicks, which hurts. Bebsie, take it away here. Giants at the Bears, and it's cold.
I don't know how you certainly can't back the Giants, but I don't know how you take the Bears. This is just a true bum fight. It's a terrible, terrible game of potentially, if Fields isn't ready to go, bad backup quarterbacks. One coach that's for sure going to be fired in a couple of weeks. I just don't, and that total is so low, but I also don't, I can't take the over. That's how bad both of these offenses are. I think Chicago obviously is a slightly better offense. I think the defenses are pretty comparable, to be honest with you. Maybe a few more standouts on the Chicago Bears. Obviously, Quinn being a major one. But I don't know what you could possibly have as a look in this game. I really don't, Jimmy. This is just a bum fight, and I have no interest in it. I know you're licking your chops over there because you adore a good bum fight. But
I do. Always have, especially if they're male.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I honestly can't. I can't give an honest lean on this. I think it's
the
too
Giants.
many points to give to the Bears.
I agree with that, but I just don't see the Giants putting up any points.
I don't know how they do. They don't have a quarterback. Glennon or Fromm, you're screwed either way. So maybe the Giants team total is a look, but what's their team total? It can't be much.
Mississippi Whisper, I can't take the Giants. I can't do it. I can't with their quarterback play the way it is. I just can't do it. Now, I do want to know who's at quarterback for the Bears, so this is probably best for us just to sit back and wait. But and it's dropped down to 37.5 from, it's just open at 38, so it wasn't that big of a deal. But team props here, they're going to be low. Let's see what they are here. 22.5 for the Bears. And Trusty looking at the under there. That's juice to the over here at Bet365. And 14.5. I don't know how the Giants get 14.5 points. Brady says, I think you have to look Giants. Would this line be 5.5 if Seattle won? 5.5 with a 37 total is way too high, in my opinion. This is a Giants player and nothing. I'm starting to like the Giants here and might be a play. Okay, I this is no move for me, but we should talk quickly about what's going on with the new COVID rules and what better quarterback or player to use than Carson Wentz. So we'll do this again later in the show, but a lot of people talking about the COVID issues and what they are. And let's just discuss that exactly here. Sorry, let me find my Colts action. I guess I just blew past the Colts action. But big changes announced from the players union, and we should discuss them. If I could I have just too many pages of notes, man. Okay, here we go. That's not it. I guess I just blew right past it. Oh my God, sorry, what a waste. Okay, here we go. So these are the new. So Carson Wentz is on the reserve COVID list. He's unvaccinated. These are the new guidelines. They're reducing the quarantine time to 5 days from 10 days for all players. That's the biggest part of it. So unvaccinated, doesn't matter. If they're asymptomatic or demonstrating that their symptoms are improving. So Carson Wentz, who's unvaccinated, before he'd be out 10 days, he'd be guaranteed to be out. He can play this weekend. So he needs the positive test. It would have needed to have taken place yesterday or today, which is possible. And he's asymptomatic and demonstrates his symptoms are improving. That's all he has to do. Mississippi Whisper, no, that's not the case at all. I think it's just the lights here. That's not the case at all. Jared TG says, if you give me $1,000, maybe I'd put $3 on this game. Sharpie, looking at the Barkley props about how bad the Bears are against defending the rush. He says Barkley over 52.5 will be a play of mine. Been eating easy off the Bears rush deep. Penny last week, 17 carries for 135 yards. Barkley hasn't had that game this year, and I think it's time. Crystal Warren says, how are they judging symptoms, though? The issue here is that this has now become a cold or a light flu, and that players they shouldn't have to announce anything if they have COVID right now. I mean, I could have COVID right now. What do I know? I've got a sore throat. I'm fine. I'm ready to cap. Let's move on. That's the Giants, Bears. I'm going to do nothing here at this point, but I want to fade the quarterbacks on the New York Giants. That's what I would like to do, and I believe I will succeed.
I don't see them scoring 2 touchdowns, let alone more than 2 touchdowns.
At all. I agree.
I don't know how they do it. I think it was Newkirker who put up the stat that they've put up 63 points in the last 6 games. And listen, the Chicago Bears defense isn't bad. So we really think they're going to bust out in this one? If you're going to look at something, I'd say Giants team total under. But, so that was it Nutflush that said he was going to start drinking? Yeah. For the sake of his liver, let's move on.
Okay, well, let's just touch on the weather. It's going to be freezing, but it's going to be sunny. Freezing cold. So we have at kickoff 18 Fahrenheit -8 Celsius, 14 mile per hour winds, or 23 kilometers an hour, depending on your math system.